Welcome everybody to another Indie Dev Showcase here on the channel, highlighting the many demos and developer submitted games we play. If you submit a game for a future piece, please get in touch. But we are starting things off with the demo for the Oddinary Highway. This is described as a shmup roguelite that's kind of retro future inspired. We play as our flying car here, exploring the Oddinary Highway, where reality tends to get all messy and weird, and it's up to us to survive one level at a time. Now, the game boasts, in terms of kind of the roguelite-ness, having different unlocks, as well as a unique modifier, a randomly chosen modifier that will affect the properties of a stage each time you play through it. Now, from the demo, I like the look of this game. It has like that kind of, again, like 70s style, especially in the comic book, almost like animations or kind of aesthetic. But my main concern with the game is that from the demo that's, I think, still available, it was very hard to see the roguelite-ness of it. Obviously, with the demo, we couldn't see unlocks or things along those lines, and I'm hoping that we see more of that gameplay, or at least be able to see more of it, as the basic gameplay is okay, but it's not anything I think we haven't already seen from shmups, shoot-em-ups, bullet hells, and so on and so forth. But if you are a fan of shmups looking for another one with a very great aesthetic, I would say check this one out, and we'll have to see where the roguelite-ness comes in at release. For our next demo, we have Gori, Cuddly, Carnage. And this is a game that combines, I guess, Jet Set Radio with Bayonetta and, I guess, Happy Tree Friends as well, if you remember that. But our story is that we play as this cat here who has crash landed on Earth after it has been completely destroyed when the robot rising took place. And now, in order to get off the planet, we need to basically fire our way through all these cute and cuddly animatronics and creatures that have taken over, and of course do as many or as much hoverboarding as we can fit in at the same time. So the game itself will switch between exploring these disturbing scenes as you see right here, and of course using the blades on your hoverboard to slash away at different enemies. The game definitely has a unique look and charm to it, and if you don't like profanity and, of course, needless gore, this is probably not going to be the game for you. But I think the game has a really strong look. My main concern from the demo is that it is a little unwielding as your hoverboard is constantly moving, and it can be a little hard sometimes to perform precise actions, especially during the demo's boss fight. But I think this is a really solid game. Again, very unusual concept, but if you are looking for something very out of the ordinary to play, then definitely check this one out. We now turn from a game of lots of color to one not quite so much. This is the Vale. And the hook of this game is the fact that, well, there's no visuals. You control a blind woman who must find her way back to her kingdom after being forced to escape it. And the entire game itself is told entirely through audio. You have basic controls that allow you to move or attack in different directions, and it's up to you to figure out how best to get around and fight, given only audio warnings. If you're hoping for a explosion of visuals during this section, you're not going to find that. And the game itself is definitely set up about approachability and accessibility in terms of having subtitles, more tells, things along those lines. And it's very much, well, an interactive story. Now, with that said, if you're somebody looking for a very action or visually stimulating game, the Vale is obviously not going to work for you. But if you are somebody looking for a very different game, especially in terms of how things are portrayed, obviously very plainly here, or from a different perspective, then definitely check this one out. So with that said, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have 3 more games to look at for this showcase. And as always, if you're interested in my thoughts on design, then check out my offerings of books. For entry-level students, we have 20 essential games to study, and then the Game Design Deep Dive series that takes an extensive look at different genres, with free-to-play coming in 2022. For our next game, we have Skeleton Crew. This is a up to 4-player kind of party-based action-adventure game. The undead have risen, and it's up to you, and your friends of course, to fight them back level after level. So you choose from different characters who have different abilities, and what they can be used in terms of melee, ranged, and so on. Each character kind of behaves at the basic level the same way, being able to do a light attack, heavy, pick things up, throw them at things, etc, etc. Your job in each level is to complete various tasks to get new unlocks and abilities, as well as, of course, fight your way through the different enemies. From what we played of this one, there's definitely potential here for multiplayer groups. My big concern about this game is that I'm not sure if the basic systems are going to be interesting enough to keep somebody playing this game solo. There are different difficulty settings that will, of course, raise the challenge up, but it is a game that essentially the basic moment-to-moment gameplay is on the simplistic side, obviously by the fact, of course, that we have up to 4 players who can play. I would say if you're looking for another multiplayer-focused game, this is definitely one to keep an eye out for. It's got a lot of, I think, really solid mechanics, really nice aesthetics as well. But if you're only looking for like a single player focused title, I don't know this one will have the legs for you. Up now we have Aethernaut. This is a puzzle adventure game very similar to that of Portal, the Talos Principle, and kind of that first person puzzle genre that we've seen examples of. Our mission here is that we are kind of in a steampunk laboratory trying to solve various puzzles. Now, the game itself definitely draws similarities from those games I just mentioned, but it does have its own different takes on puzzles and the kind of the rules or methodology around them. One of the more interesting aspects is that there's polling sections that you have to answer or make a decision, which I don't know how they impact the story, if at all. From what we played of the demo of this one, I did have some concerns. Some of the puzzle logic and just general rules are a little hard to grasp, and I don't know if things have improved tutorial-wise or onboarding-wise in the main version. And we did run into issues of stuttering and kind of definitely some frame rate loss as we were moving around from area to area. I would say this is more on the moderate to maybe moderate difficult side in terms of its puzzle design. If you are somebody who's looking for another challenging puzzle adventure style game, then I would say give this one a check. But if you are one of the few people who have yet to play Portal or the Talos Principle, then I would definitely start there. For the final game of our showcase this week, this is Sad RPG, a game that's all about dealing with social anxiety disorder. The story is that we live in a kind of vaporware kind of world, and anytime we try to step outside or do something outside our comfort zone, we get attacked by things like this. And the entire game itself is kind of about dealing with social anxiety, as well as just kind of exploring the oddities of this vaporwave world. If you're looking for an easy to get into or easy to understand RPG, this is definitely not going to be the game for you, as you'll have to do things such as grind basic tasks in order to power yourself up, as well as just try to figure out what are the rules and conditions for this world as you try to explore it, have these kind of strange mini-games, and just kind of, again, take in the sights of what is happening around you. I would say this is definitely a very interesting game to play. If you are looking for a completely different RPG, I would say check this one out. But like I said, it may be a little hard in terms of approachability, and if you are somebody who does suffer from social anxiety, then the game does warn about it could very well trigger or be triggering for you. But definitely an unusual game, or one that you don't really see too often to end our showcase with. So, with that said, we're going to wrap up the showcase here. I'd like to thank the games that were submitted, as well as the demos we played. Again, you'll find links to them down below. And if you'd like me to look at yours in the future, please get in touch. Do all the liking, subscribing, and commenting. Check out our Discord and Patreon. And come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Until next time, take care.